Next guest on the Quantum Shift podcast is Amy Wall. For more than 2 decades, Amy has guided beauty professionals. Amy began her career as an esthetician, mastering the hands-on craft of skincare, and for over 20 years, she has risen to the level of award-winning esthetician, the Skin Tessa. She didn't just stay in the treatment room. She was mentored by the formulator who discovered a key peptide, giving her deep product development and skin science insider expertise. She's recognized that estheticians alone weren't enough. Amy fused the physical with the energetic, creating her own methodology. Amy and I had a wonderful conversation about beauty, not just on the outside, but from the inside out. She's very smart. She knows her industry, and I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Amy Wall, welcome to the podcast. My first question is, I want you to just introduce yourself. Tell us your background a little bit.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. I was so excited to be on the Quantum Shift podcast. And I am a Northern California girl. I grew up on the coast of Northern California in a little town called Mendocino. And I was raised on a hippie commune in the early 70s. My parents tried to escape the mainstream and brought me up and raised me in the counterculture. And I went on to do a little bit of traveling outside of my little area, but ultimately came back pretty quickly and have lived in the same little village that I grew up in for almost the entirety of my entire life. And I like to refer to myself as kind of a hippie princess. You know, I was raised in on a commune. I lived in a...
What was being on the commune like? Because that's the first time we spoke, you said that, and it was like somebody threw a left hook. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So I was raised in a chicken coop.
What
Used to be a chicken coop with no indoor plumbing. And
we really know.
I didn't...
Wait, hold on. No indoor plumbing.
No, we had a toilet. The actual toilet that was we had outhouses many years as well. Outhouses, at some point we upgraded to a toilet in a shed, but you had to walk outside. The bathtub was outside, the shower was outside. And ironically, we can get into all of this, but now that's very in style.
Yeah. Very chic.
Okay.
Off the grid, baby. Off the grid, right?
It's off the grid. But I was so it was just it was hippies that were escaping the man. And there were a lot of East Coast, Jewish, East Coast, lesbians, people like from all walks of life, but a lot of actually just people that didn't feel like they were literally fitting into culture. Yeah. And, there was all the
Did you realize that as a kid that it was different? How old were you when you realized
No, I knew from the very beginning that something was a little bit off. I had a grandmother who actually was one of the inspirations for the beauty portion of my life that we'll get into.
Yeah.
And she sort of had that 2-car garage, and she was an interior designer and had a really beautiful home. And so I was pretty pissed about the whole thing, to be honest. But it was really a gift, because while there was a lot of benign neglect, to just to be very transparent, they were off finding themselves and doing drugs and having big boogies and wild music scene and no boundaries, no bedrooms, no nothing, but there were all of these incredible consciousness books in my bookshelf.
That's cool.
So one of the ways that I raised myself was on all of these incredible books, like Autobiography of a Yogi. I studied Transcendental Meditation when I was, 13 years old. I read Aldous Huxley, Herman Hesse.
Nice.
I was reading all of the books.
Yeah.
I credit that upbringing with what I've been able to bring forth in terms of my great work in the world.
Yeah. So let's go there, right? So you say on your website, it says, I was chasing beauty from the outside in. What changed that perspective for you? What was that moment of burnout for you physically, emotionally, spiritually?
Yeah, let me take you there. So I grew up in this hippie lifestyle. I got a job when I was about 14 years old, just because I knew that I needed to sort of, get out on my own and make my own money and sort of take care of myself. I was literally raised by wolves. My parents were not there really in the little place that I was living. So I was kind of just doing my own thing. Got into the hospitality industry, worked in restaurants, was able to do restaurants at such a high level that I was doing it all away at one specific restaurant for 13 years, a well-known, high-profile restaurant that was always in magazines and had Julia Child and Peter Kump's New York Cooking School and like was very like high-end gourmet and in magazines. And I worked for this famous restaurateur and like a hospitality training
Sure.
at a high level. At a certain point, I'm living in this little town called Mendocino, which is this incredible magical village right on the edge of the ocean, and I am tapped out because I have done what I can do in hospitality. I had a perfect night. Now, anyone who's waited tables will know what I'm talking about, where essentially you're waiting tables, you're doing lots of different things, everything has to flow together, right? And so there was one night in like February where all of the they thought we only had like 17 people on the books, and so everybody got canceled and I was the only waitress and I was doing my own busing and my own hostessing,
Oh,
and the whole entire restaurant filled up full of people. And I'm going somewhere with this story.
no,
And I had a perfect
I'm stressed out just hearing
night.
it.
No, but I had a perfect night. I was in a flow state and I hit every single mark and I glided around that room with I had 4 sections and I did everything, and I was gliding around the room and everything, I hit every single mark and it was a perfect night. And it was shortly after that perfect night that I had an overwhelming sense that I had something that I needed to do. I do want to mention that in 1999, I did The Artist Way. So I don't know if you've ever done The Artist Way, but it's a creative, Julia Cameron. Oh my God. So it's a creativity boosting book. Essentially, you do these morning pages and you take yourself on artist dates. And my mother was an artist as well, but that sort of brought this burgeoning creativity out of me. I have to mention all this to lead up to the when I fell asleep in beauty. But essentially, I was trying to think of a way that I could still live in Mendocino and have a meaningful career that wasn't in a restaurant, because I was burnt out of that and I had reached the pinnacle of it. And ultimately, even though it was high level, I was waiting tables.
Right.
So I decided I would become a makeup artist. I went to school to become an esthetician to further that. When I first started touching people's skin, I realized, oh, I had been studying the back of the shampoo bottle when I was a teenager because my
Right.
dad had like, all the good personal care, the good like Weleda, and, he always had he always liked expensive personal care. So I realized I was already reading the back of the shampoo bottle, studying the ingredients. My mom was a nutritionist, hippie nutritionist, so I had already known everything about like nutrition. Like I knew things like you needed to supplement your body with linoleic acid from almonds was a good source when I was like 9. So I had that. So
That's great. That's crazy
aesthetics
to me.
was
Like when I was,
it was a natural.
like when I was
It
9,
was
I was
like,
like, my brother and I were beating each other up. Like that's it.
no, well, this is a whole different, trauma responsive, having to be ultra responsible. So
Yeah.
anyway, I got into aesthetics and I was immediately like a star at it. I was just like, I had a pulse on it. And I went from being this treasured little hometown girl that was working in a team at a high level. We all pooled our tips. It was very, socialist. And I was a treasure. Like everybody loved me. I was a golden girl of this town. And I went into the aesthetics industry and I got absolutely eaten alive. Beauty school was like the worst experience of my life. The backstabbing,
I was
the
gonna say why.
horrible education,
Unpack that for me. Yeah. Why?
just teaching like old fashioned things that are not real, just not barely any education, girls that couldn't make it to college whose parents insisted they go do something that were absolutely disinterested in being there, cattiness, backstabbing. Imagine your worst middle school, high school experience as a girl and like add in just like low consciousness and all the worst parts of the beauty industry. And that was that. No problem with that. I went on to keep going. But what happened was I got my first business with somebody who used to be my hairstylist. And it was like the worst experience of my life. I went from that, her being really abusive to me. She said she didn't like the sound of my feet walking past her. Okay, things like that. Then I ran into the arms of a rich client. Okay, I told you a little bit about this on our pre-interview.
Yeah.
I ran into the arms of a rich client because I was so miserable there and I was having such a culture shock from the industry change. And I ended up getting sued by her and her husband, and they were billionaires. Okay, now keep in mind, I'm a small town girl.
Just a kid.
An
Yeah.
innocent, just peace, love, dove kind of,
Yeah.
I'm just here trying to do some good work. So I got sued, and that started off a
And
decade.
do you want to talk about what they sued you for?
Yeah, they sued me because the woman went into partnership with me, and we had a partnership agreement like they were going to be the money and I was going to be the work. That never is a good idea. We had a partnership agreement underway, but she would never sign it. But we had a lawyer and we were working with it. So I just didn't realize that was a red flag. But unbeknownst to me, because her husband was bankrolling it, she had told him that I was their employee. So he was hating me this whole time and I didn't understand why. And one day I went to work to do a wedding and there was a big hotel right across from where I had my studio, our place, and the door was locked and the sheriffs were there. And I said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Oh, you are being accused of embezzlement." And they changed the locks. I went on from that. A friend gave me $5,000 and she said, "Don't just we're going to keep going." I opened up
How
another
old were you
business.
when this happened?
I was 34 years old. So then I went and started another business because I got this $5,000 and someone said, "Just keep going." This started my spiritual journey, by the way.
I was going to say, like,
Reminding
because you talked about this. I don't want.
I had to work with psychics and all sorts of stuff to get through this, but there's this leading up to the when I was chasing beauty. So essentially, I reopened my another place. I just tried to take it on the chin, and that upset them so much that they ended up suing me for a few $1 million. All sorts of. Come to find out, he did that for sport because he was richer than God and he didn't work.
Sure.
And I had to call upon every angel and beneficial thing in my life. And I prevailed. They did not win that lawsuit
Wow.
and they had to pay anyways, it started off an
Well,
inflammatory
chalk one up for
beauty
the good guys. All
situation.
right. That's wonderful. But still, the
Well,
experience.
it was
ruined, right?
wonderful. It was a brutal experience. So essentially, I never really recovered from that for another decade. I just kept working and proving and working. And I was so stressed out from this situation that I started doing Botox because there was a nurse friend that I had that Botox has started becoming a thing. And then more stressful things happened. It was just sort of like a snowball. And all of a sudden, I found myself with a giant spa with multiple employees because my business was growing because I was really good at what I did. And one day I found myself in the office of a plastic surgeon asking her why one of my eyes was crunkled down and for the video people, why one of my eyebrows was lower and all the skin around my eyes was bunching up. And she said, "You're a candidate for a blepharoplasty," which is an eyelid surgery where they cut out some of the eye skin. And she said, "That'll be $7,000. I remember it was like a decade ago. And so I just went out into my car and it just sort of was that moment where it was a turning point when I just thought, no, actually, I wanted her to tell me there was nothing wrong with my eyes. And then I just had to intuit it myself. I was like, this is all, somehow everything just came together for me. And I'm like, this is all a game. They're never going to have my best interests at heart. They're not going to tell me to go do a yoga class and to stop hanging out with toxic people.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, the first thing that's got to go is the Botox. And what do you know, Chris? As soon as I stopped artificially depressing my eyebrow, to smooth my forehead, the eyebrow went right back up.
Wow.
And I don't have wrinkles on my forehead. But that led me to even the practice of holistic beauty as it is practiced in today's day and age. I sort of had this moment where none of it made sense because even wrinkles themselves, the only reason we think that they're bad is because we have been told and sold that they are. We could live in a completely different culture and paradigm where that was, a status symbol. So I just sort of saw behind the game of the whole thing. And then all of the stuff that I had practiced when I was a teenager around mirror work, consciousness, the intention with the ingredients and everything, it came flooding back to me. And I set out to bring consciousness into the beauty world. And how I was named the top esthetician in the United States in 2016 based on something I created called the I Am Ritual.
Okay.
And
So let's now we're into the good stuff, right? Like, so you go through the dark stuff, you have your quantum shift, you come out the other end, you realize it's all a load of hoo-ha. And then you do what? Do you start Skintessa immediately, or is this
No,
something different and then you get
no,
there?
no. What happened after that is that actually my husband was arrested on a federal cannabis conspiracy charge because we live in Mendocino, the Emerald Triangle, and it was right before cannabis was being legalized. And there was people from all different states coming here, and he got caught up because he was friends with these guys from Kansas, and he was the chief of our fire department, and not involved really on any other level except that everybody sold weed as it was an industry here. It was our industry, like fishing or redwood, and helping our friends keep their mortgage alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up his phone number was in these guys' phone, and we ended up getting involved in this federal cannabis conspiracy charge. And that was the next trigger that I needed, because it wasn't enough to get sued by the billionaire. I was still going to keep on the crazy train. Okay. I started talking to spiritual people. I started it, but then that actually made it so that I realized I could not run the spot anymore, and I could not agree and align with people's judgments of their faces. And my husband built me a little magic studio on my property here
That's
at my
cool.
home, and I rebranded. And it was so there was a messaging from a branding perspective for all the entrepreneurs out here. This is kind of what I teach now, is that the brand has a consciousness of its own. It's an entity, right? We have a brand entity. And so it evolved just like I had to evolve. And so the first change was from Mendocino Beauty to Love Amy Signature Skincare. It was a love letter from me to your skin. And I had little affirmations for the mirror. I have one right here, actually, that
Well,
I came across
are
the
the
other
affirmations
day.
part of the mirror process that you talked about?
Yeah,
So can you
yeah, that
explain that?
it is. But I want to explain it, because affirmations they can be very flabby,
Yeah.
and they can be very surface level. So I am is not actually an affirmation.
Mm.
So I am is a divine presence. So let's just invite the I am into this video studio with us right now. I am that. I am. And that is the power of claiming an identity and parallel life track jumping. Anyone? It all starts with I am. So the I am it started off more as an affirmation, but then it kept deepening and deepening and deepening. But the I am ritual that I ended up creating, the I stands for intention, ingredients, imagination. The A is awareness, acknowledgement, appreciation, because appreciation is how we grow the wealth, right? And then the M was massage, tapping, mindset, taking control of the monkey mind, and mirror play, playing in the mirror. So that's how it started.
Love it. And this is just an amalgamation of everything that you'd been studying for so many years?
It just kept going and going and going. And
Explain that.
reality transurfing is this guy, Vadim Zeland. He's a Russian physicist. Okay. And he wrote this book that's all about life really being like a mirror and being a movie, and kind of sitting in the center screen of the observer and noticing that there's outer intention of the movie that's outside, that's running. We have this movie. Then we have the inner intention of our mind, like all the things we're thinking. And then we can sit in the center of those two screens.
That
Right. So you can
I
sit in the
that
center and bringing the neutrality, new reality, and just being very neutral to everything, and then navigating to your desired life track. He has an advanced visualization technique that you use the back of your shoulder blades called the assemblage point.
I like that.
So that, and then Parallel Universes of Self. I mean, Chris, if you have not read that
I
book, that
think
is
I'm
my
gonna have to,
Bible.
and
I listen to
I'll link it
Parallel
in the
Universe.
description for people that are
Oh,
that want to. Yeah.
Universes of Self, Fred Dodson, he's the absolute goat of all consciousness. And so he also really brought in the navigating to with your identity. And once I had those pieces, I saw how beauty could actually be created through our own conscious observation and participation.
Love that. I love it. Yeah. I feel like you're just like flipping a switch that people don't think about when they think about beauty, where you're saying like mind, body, spirit, skin. People are just like mind, body, skin, and there's no spirit involved in it.
There's no
Yeah.
spirit. And I love that you said switch because I always say I'm not a witch. I'm a switch because I help you turn your light
I
on.
love it. That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's all right. So then at this point, you're reading, you're studying, all these things are dawning on you, and you're taking it obviously much deeper than just the beauty industry.
Yeah. Well, I took it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, how do you explain it to somebody who's only really known beauty at a surface level? We talked about the mind, body, spirit, skin. How does
I
that
do it.
integration
Yeah.
actually show up in your work?
I just say, you know how sometimes, depending on who I'm talking to, I have a whole, I love talking to teens get this really easily, but say I'm talking to a woman who's thinking of getting some plastic surgery or getting some work done or even Botox, and she's interested in knowing about it. And I say, you know how you were raising your kids and you're doing your career and you just kind of stop looking in the mirror, or if you did look in the mirror, you're just sort of like doing the thing and kind of moving on and thinking about your email and your to do, or lots of judgments, the inner critic judging. I said, you know how you got that. And then I say, and then you know how you also have probably more than 5 serums, moisturizers, and creams that you've bought from the internet, the drugstore, an esthetician, and you're not using them together with a plan. And so you've never gotten significant results and you're always on the lookout for something better. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what if I told you that we have to start with looking at yourself in the mirror and really seeing the changes that are happening because hey, we're all here on the 3D, we're in the biological hologram. Things are happening, there's inflammation, there's gravity, there's things that are happening. We don't want to deny the somatics of it, but the first step is looking in the mirror and deciding where do you desire to go? And I don't like to use the word want because it means you don't have it, but
Mm.
what do you actually desire? Do you want to appear to be beautiful to other people, or is this really about you feeling okay with yourself? And I start there. And usually by the time I get there, because I am an expert in the skincare side of things,
Mhm.
I've already captured them. So they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
such a
the deal
different
is,
perspective, especially hearing from somebody in the beauty industry. It's almost as if you're walking shoulder to shoulder with them, as opposed to trying to just like reach into their purse, and like I'm going
I
to
am
make
a
you feel
guide.
insecure and terrible about yourself, and then you're going to buy my product. It's when you're approaching it from the inside out, it's just about beauty, and that could mean a bunch of different things for different people. And oh, by the way, I can help you with your skin, but it's also going to be energetic and spiritual. Do you believe that our skin, we talked about wrinkles and stuff. Do you believe that our skin records emotional and energetic history? Like, do you think that
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, your skin is a mirror and every condition. So skin types are a marketing myth. I want to circle back to something you just said
Wait,
though.
really? Is
I
it
want
really a
to,
marketing myth? Like oily skin, dry skin?
skincare,
Really?
skincare types are a marketing myth, but I want to go back to something you just said. I don't want to skip over it because you said it sounds like you're not just trying to sell somebody. No, I never have. And I took a hit financially for a decade because of that. I stopped using fear-based language in my brand a decade ago to great financial detriment because the market wasn't sophisticated enough yet and they just didn't see it. And then, I started talking about skincare as self-care before anybody else did it. And now that's just de rigueur, but they've used it, they've co-opted it, and they've used it for, I mean, there's skincare products for kids now, self-care for kids where you have to use, sheet masks with tons of little pieces of plastic and stuff. And you said that I walked along with them. That's the big shift that I'm inviting every esthetician and wellness provider to. The gatekeeping is gone. Consumers can have all the information that they need and want on the internet. They can go to YouTube and they can learn anything themselves, and they can give themselves most all treatments themselves. But to be a guide, to really walk with a woman and hold up the mirror to her, that is what the beauty industry needs, and that is what I'm here to do. And yes, I just love that you said that. So I wanted to acknowledge
Yeah.
that. And
I
skin
appreciate it.
types are a marketing myth.
Yeah. Well, look, I really appreciate it because as we spoke in the pre-interview, I have 2 teenage daughters, and they are both very into self-care and their skin. And it's interesting because I'm more nervous about it now after speaking to you because they've grown up with these products and I was always like, oh, that's great. Like they're taking care of themselves, but they're babies. Like they don't need to take care. Like, you know,
But let me say
like it's
something.
like
It's a both and.
sunblock, sure, but you know, you talk
I
about
don't wear
energetic
sunblock.
hygiene, and I think that that's a more important thing to be
Okay.
discussing than, you know, what does Sephora have on sale this week?
Okay, but let's unpack that. Let's get meta and micro
Yeah,
and
let's
macro
go.
and all
Let's
of what
go.
you just said, because this is really important. So first of all, the opportunity to touch ourselves and look in the mirror on a daily basis and to apply a product that could possibly be nutrifying and the neuroaesthetic of that is a powerful opportunity. And I have many products. I have products everywhere. In fact, I was mentored by the scientist who discovered the peptide for the skincare industry, and I formulate products for estheticians as a sub brand. I don't lead with it because I don't think the world needs more products. But for the estheticians that are working with me, I'm making high performance nutraceutical topical products that we can connect with ourselves. So we want to encourage your daughters to do that. The consumerism is where things can go off a little bit. But even me, I love to have the next best thing and try new things. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's just that there's a lot less is needed. I grew up in Mexico when my parents were not, when I was not on the commune. I was on a palapa on the beach of Mexico for months at a time. I grew up in Mexico. I lived in Hawaii for 2 years, and now I live on the coast of California. I am 56 years old, and I do not wear sunscreen, and I have absolutely zero sun damage, and I don't have any hyperpigmentation, nor do
Wait,
I have
wait, wait,
wrinkles.
wait, wait, wait. Hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Because everybody
Sorry.
watching this is like, she doesn't wear. Oh, all right, really? You go in the sun and you
I
don't
don't
wear
wear
anything?
sunscreen. No, I don't wear, well, to be fair, I have a tinted mineral moisturizer on that has some sun protection. Let's do a quick little masterclass on sunscreens for
Yes,
everybody
please.
because, you know, you have all sorts of cool guests, and this is just an expertise. We don't want to discount the skin intelligence. So I've got 3 pillars of my brand: skin intelligence, energy illumination, and the self image and the identity. So it's the 3 pack, it's a trinity. So skin intelligence, sunscreens, traditional sunscreens that are called, well, actually the FDA does not let you call something a sunblock anymore or a sunscreen. You used to be able to have a block or a screen. Greens that have chemicals are like, off the top of my head, I've got so much I'm thinking about, so I can't pull a chemical out. But chemical sunscreens rely on a filter, a UV filter. The chemical, when the heat hits the skin, the chemical diffuses the effect of the UVB, mostly rays, and a little bit of the A rays. So B is for burning, A is for aging, and C is for cancer. And it sort of diffuses and negates it for a couple of hours. If you were not applying that sunscreen every 2 hours, you're not getting anything near what they claim as the protection amount. The testing at the FDA level, there's a shot glass full of the sunscreen that's applied on the person's face and reapplied every 2 hours. Most people are just taking a little tiny bit, mixing it in. It might be mixed in with their makeup or something else, and they're calling it like a sunscreen. And it's just not real. So then a sunblock, even though they're not able to be called that anymore, those are physical reflectors. So mineral makeups, zinc, titanium dioxide, those are the 2 active ingredients. They act like a million tiny little mirrors reflecting the sun back off the face. Where this gets important is that hyperpigmentation or age spots are a big concern in especially the anti-aging world, which I hate the phrase and I don't use it, but for women getting older and it's like, oh, the sun damage. Well, what they don't tell you about regular sunscreens is that it's relying on the heat from the sun to activate the filter. So it might protect you from the burn, but it's not protecting you from the pigment that is rising down deep in the skin, the melanocyte that comes up and turns dark to protect you like your own body's own filter. So sunscreens, if I'm going to be in Mexico on the beach completely like playing volleyball or going out on a boat, sure, I'll wear some physical block and I'll put a hat on. I'm going to wear long sleeves
Right.
and I'm going to limit my sun exposure by practicing safe sun. I also take astaxanthin,
What's that?
which is a supplement that, do you know about
No
astaxanthin?
idea.
It is a microalgae that grows on the surface of the ocean that
Okay.
basically does the same thing. It acts like a filter and it diffuses the UV. So you can take that internally. I think that's a big thing that I do. I take massive amounts of glutathione, acetylated glutathione. I have extremely pristine internal nutrition. So, I don't really feel that I'm needing to be slathering sunscreen on.
Mm.
So it's a both and if I could sum up what the quantum is in 2 words, it's both and. So it's not that it's wrong for everybody. I don't believe in the duality and the polarity.
Mhm.
It's just for me, it's not needed.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I know nothing about that. It's kind of like I just, somebody will spray something on my face. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And but I do feel like it's the modern beauty industry has pulled us so far away from like, I guess like ancient beauty rituals and like
Mm,
the ability to just trust that your body will protect you and the idea of taking care of your body internally and then your skin will follow suit, I think is really a fascinating thing they talk about within the beauty ecosystem. Do people, when you're talking to other estheticians, are they like, are they, are they immediately picking up what you're putting down, or are they, because they've been taught such a different way
no,
to approach things?
no,
Are they just like, what are you talking about?
no, no. I'm a very polarizing figure in the aesthetic community,
Interesting.
but I have the receipts
Yeah.
of having 14 of the top scientists and formulators and experts in the world naming me the best of the best. And I have my mentorship with Dr. Owen, the scientist who discovered the peptide. And I'm kind of unarguable with, even if they don't understand it, I know it
Yeah.
so deeply. And so I'm an outlier, and this is the pointy end of the stick, but I'm a leader and it's exciting. I coach I have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group. I coach them every month for free. I do a lot of just like, hey, this is coming. So what's happening, Chris, right now with aesthetics is that the business of facials and giving facials is dying right now.
Why?
Well, let's unpack it a little bit. So, to be an esthetician, it was sort of like we had this red velvet rope where we knew things that the consumer didn't know.
Oh, I see.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
we had that. And so, when the internet got invented,
Yeah.
we have this category of products called professional skincare, which you were not supposed to be able to get anywhere but with an esthetician. You see where I'm going? And guess what? It's a total lie, anyways.
Mhm.
It's just a distribution channel. It's not a
Right.
real thing. It's not an FDA thing. So that happened. And then when COVID happened, women realized they could do their own facials at home. And then the med spa, Botox and lasers and all of that thing, people are like, why would I go to some esthetician who's not even going to listen to me or ask me like what I really want to have experience? And she's just going to scrub and rub and try to like charge me $150 and I'm
Mhm.
like leave red and uncomfortable. Like,
So when you said, yeah, you leave like your skin's irritated, you said that the beauty industry is inflamed. What do you mean by that?
well, everything I just said, people are waking up around the world to I mean, all of the science. Are you into like, what is his name? The guy who talks about the consciousness in the headset. Anyways, all of the science that is coming out, the Nobel Prize that was given a couple of years ago that proves that reality is non-local. Like, the science is coming, people are waking up, people are seeing, and the beauty industry is built on an illusion. The emperor has no clothes.
Mm.
It's smoke and mirrors 90% of the time. And women are tired of being talked down to, and we're tired of being sold through fear. Even the holistic industry, I got to have a little bit of a critical eye towards them because it's not enough to call yourself holistic and then just be like, you need to have this gua sha stone and be grinding your face with it constantly and fear mongering around ingredients. It's like, you know what? We just want to just be comfortable in our skin. So it's inflamed because people they don't want to sign up for it. The more conscious people, that
Right.
is.
So are you seeing more of business owners and like estheticians being able to, like, are they getting it now? Are they figuring out that they have to kind of meet people where they are and come perhaps a little bit more educated themselves about it? Because
Yeah.
you mentioned energetic leaks with beauty entrepreneurs. So how does somebody, and you also talk about brand alignment between yourself and what you're speaking about. Is
Yeah.
that, I guess, I don't even know if I have a question. What?
It's not really change. I mean, the people that work with me, they're doing it. I
Yeah,
don't know anybody. I mean, I think that aesthetics in general is a very old-fashioned industry that has been held together by a lot of lies, like professional skincare and some different things. The way that we've been working really doesn't work. They don't have the so all that hospitality background that I have really comes into play. They don't have the
sure.
soft
Yeah, you know the
skills.
people skills. Yeah.
They don't have the people skills, and it's like they don't have a lot of them are highly sensitive,
Mm,
and they're behind the bed working on somebody in a dark room, and they don't know how to come forth and speak their truth.
mm.
So a lot of them do see what I'm saying, but it's a big shift. I think things are breaking down and evolving, and there's a new type of category coming forth. I'm a category creator.
In your mastermind, just from my reading on your website, you said that you help them develop product lines, but you're really moving people from the transactional to the transformational. What does that work look like? Like, talk about the masterminds.
So, well, my mastermind is I have three different levels that I do. I have something called soul service, where I teach them how to stop selling a menu of items. So, if you go to a normal esthetician menu on a website, it's like anti aging facial, microcurrent facial, glow facial, this facial, that facial. And you're like, what do I pick? So, I teach you how to have just one transformational experience that's coded to a specific type of soul client or avatar, and it's called Soul Service. And I teach how to do a guided meditation with the facial. And we do an infinity loop activation on the body that matches with the three mirrors consultation that I teach. And that's Soul Service. Then the next level is Light Lift, which is a quantum beauty methodology that they can sell to their clients, and the client does it to herself at home.
What does that
That's
entail?
that
That's interesting.
that is something that emanated from I did the world's first professionally led facial in a box in 2017 because I started having an overwhelming understanding that beauty was changing and that we needed to start serving the consumer at home. So I did a facial in a box where I put every single thing that I did in my facial inside of a box and sold it to my clients, and people were
Yeah, I'm
upset, the
sure.
esthetician
Yeah.
industry. They were like, "What are you doing? Why are you giving away the secrets?" And I'm like, because this is the future of beauty. Then COVID happened and everybody was like, oh,
Yeah.
rushing to do it. But I never kept with it. I said, nope, this isn't actually enough for me. I have to reverse engineer a method, because it still can't be about the product. Light Lift is about the concept of releasing up to 10 visible years without inflammatory treatments or injections.
Ooh.
And I have a process called Magic Mirror Room that I would love to gift your audience. It's a it's a visualization setup that you do yourself. And in the Light Lift, it's done in combination with LED light
Cool.
and methylene blue. It's a photodynamic therapy thing that you do yourself. And it's all about like the understanding that our self-image is actually the thing that's holding this whole that's our self-image, is our blueprint, it's our set point, it's the controller of a lot of this, it's the boss of the subconscious. So that's the Light Lift. And then at the high level, at the mastermind level, I teach them how to have a 6-month transformational program or a product line, but the product line has to be in furtherance of the service.
Got it.
So I'm not just spinning out new product lines for people to put up a Shopify site and start Facebook ads and like,
Right.
here's this next product that you need. I mean, they can certainly do that with it, but it's just part of the ecosystem.
So are there beauty products on the market currently that you could safely say, like, this would be aligned? Like, if somebody's listening to this, they're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
like,
I have,
talk about
yes.
that a little bit, because even
Okay.
like what stores to go to, what ingredients should people be focusing on? Should they have a daily skin
Yes.
ritual? My daughters have like ritual at
Yes.
night. They do stuff in the morning. They do stuff,
Yes.
and they're
Yes. I'd love to talk about
yeah.
that. So are you in New York City?
We're in the suburbs of New York. Yeah, about 50 minutes from the
Okay.
city in Westchester.
So I just got done apprenticing a celebrity esthetician in New York City, and She's the Skin Seer, and I did her whole entire brand, and we're doing her product line and everything. She doesn't have a product line available right this moment, but she is fantastic if anybody wants to have a beauty ceremony along the lines of what I was talking about. And I actually have estheticians all over the country. So if somebody wants to experience this in person, I'm highly available. I'm at the Skintessa everywhere, and you can ask me about that. But let's talk about product lines. There are some fantastic product lines out there. I love products. And one product that I'm totally loving right now is called Global Treasures by Lena Hansen. She is half Swiss and half Vietnamese or Thai, perhaps. And she travels all over and sources these amazing oils and makes these incredibly beautiful balms. There is a line called Les Mieux, which is a French sounding line, but it's actually a Korean formulator. And they use the very highest level of bioactives, growth factors, peptides, and everything is in super clean formulas. I'm not a person who is against products in general, like certain
Right.
products. Even like I don't believe in using a ton of petrochemicals, plastics, endocrine disruptors. However, having said that, it's our intention. Just like if we had to have some fast food because we were on the road
Right.
and we had to get some Taco Bell because it was
Right.
like an emergency and we had to have some
Right.
Taco Bell. It's like we can have a little bit of Taco Bell. It's not going to be the end of the world. We're going to just be like, thank you, body. Let's
Yeah.
just process this,
Yeah.
eat it with gratitude, kind of the same thing. But I have many, many lines that I love. There's a line in New York City that I've done some consulting for named Kaya Skin, Kaia. And she is an Indian woman who infuses her products with Reiki.
Cool. Very
The
cool.
oils, I mean, for Christmas,
Yeah.
if your girls aren't listening, Kaya Skin,
They will listen to
she
this
does
one, definitely.
she does these little discovery kits. I'm not a big fan of the products that are in Sephora or that are on TikTok in general. I'm a big TikToker, by the way. I'm techie for it, Gen Xer. But most of the product lines that have huge, huge marketing budgets and really beautiful packaging,
It's not good.
the ingredients aren't there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what should people
Oh,
do
and
if they're researching on their own? Like, can people use, I was going to ask you, like, how is AI and technology changing all this? Because you're very technology forward with your marketing and your branding and your content. Are there, I mean, it'd be interesting.
love AI. I love AI.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
I'm
love
just like
AI. I'm
curious. I'm
going to
like, it'd
be,
be
yeah.
interesting to like put in information into ChatGPT and ask for recommendations on like, holistic remedies and things that you should be doing to, for different beauty solutions.
The problem with asking it things is it doesn't really have
No
references
context.
and there's no context. So I prefer to screenshot in ingredient decks or something like that and say, analyze it and tell me about it. So I use AI more in the way of a tool where I'm not asking a lot of things, but there's some good resources. I do not recommend the EWG for finding out about ingredients. That's the Environmental Working Group.
Why?
Because they're a lobbyist and they have a lot of fear mongering around ingredients. Just off the top of my head, if you go to my blog, I have my most recent blog post is all about ingredients. It's called, let's see, real quick here. And then I wanted to talk about the journal. It's called Ultimate Skincare Ingredient Encyclopedia for Estheticians, but it can be for everybody. And I go through every single ingredient on the market that I think is good. And
That's
even I talk about preservative systems and things like that. But what I also really think is like there can be a mix of making your own product
right.
and
That's
doing a
interesting.
little DIY. Maybe somebody local makes a little serum. Maybe there's something
Right.
that you found on the internet that's very high level and you do a little mix.
Well, I did have a question that I preemptively wrote where I was kind of like, what's the most unconventional thing that you've seen actually working in beauty or healing? And yeah, I'll ask you that.
So I want to talk about this. So I think, now this is just a theory, But hear me out. I believe that this is a belief-led universe, right? We make something sticky, we say, "This is the way it is," and it holds it into place, and that's like our reality until we navigate to a new point of view. So our point of view creates our reality. Any product and any ingredient will work with the belief and the intention. I believe most results with surface level product lines, because all product lines are sitting on the surface unless they have a delivery system, which most don't, is a result of placebo. It's like, oh, especially with the girls, it's like, oh, the TikTok girlies are doing this and this influencer is doing that. And like, I love it. And it works until it stops working and you want to go to the next thing. And that's kind of sort of like
Believe
the
it.
garden.
I'm in the middle of reading Joe Dispenza's "You Are the Placebo," and the
Yeah.
science behind it. It's true. Like whatever
The
people really
placebo.
believe,
Yeah.
it's what happens. And
Yeah.
there was a study of a person that had been diagnosed with cancer and told that he was going to die in 6 months, and he died in 4 months. And then when they did the autopsy, it was like a different type of cancer that really was not terminal. And they were
Yeah.
like, oh my good, like basically saying that because he believed he was dying, he died. Like that's incredible.
Well, we
Well, yeah,
have
I
to
believe
we have
it.
to
Absolutely.
we have to reclaim the placebo as the mind-body connection and understand how powerful it is. And it explains why there can be holistic perspectives, there can be med spa perspectives. Somebody's going to have great results with this. We just need to kind of figure out what feels good to us. So beauty is about sensuality. Beauty is self-pleasure. Beauty, we haven't gotten into my three mirrors, but
Let's go.
the three mirrors. So this is my contribution to the world, and I believe this could be a great TED Talk. Who knows where it will go?
Yeah.
I'd like to write a book about it. We'll see.
All the
But
above.
the three mirrors, this concept of that every person has three mirrors they're looking into, whether they know it or not. And let's just talk about women specifically because we're more of in the mirror. So there's the physical mirror. And that is the mirror that no one has told us how it really works. We think that it's telling us the truth, but really it's a combination of light and shadow processed through something called top-down processing in our brain. So it's a belief filter. So we see on a lot of levels what we're expecting to see. There's
Such
lots
an
of science
interesting thing to
behind this.
say. Yeah, I love that.
There's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah.
And so top-down processing is the lever there. And if you think about it, you look different every mirror you've ever looked into. Every camera film, every lens, depending on where the light is, you could look like a totally different person. So let's just anchor this into everybody that's listening, especially to every woman that has ever had her feelings hurt when she looked in the mirror. It's not the truth. It's just a reflection of a snapshot of where you're at in the time-space continuum with the shadow and the light and how you believe about yourself. So we've got that. That's the physical mirror. But we do want to reclaim how to be in that mirror by when we look in the mirror, connecting in with our own eyes. That activates the empathic parts of our brain, like really having eye contact with ourselves, using loving kindness, dropping our barriers, telling the inner critic to take a hike for a minute. We got this. Just learning how to just really be in the mirror with non-reactivity and not taking it so personal. That's where we're at now. So that's the physical mirror. Then the second mirror is what I call the quantum mirror, and that is the mirror of our self-image. We all know about self-image and self-esteem, but no one ever really explained there's an actual image in there. The subconscious has an amalgamation of all of your beliefs, all of your history, everything that's ever been told and sold to you. And you've got a little picture of yourself about what you should look like. And that's why you get pictures back, especially before digital photos. We would get our pictures back from the pharmacy or whatever. We look at it and be like, I don't look like that.
Horrifying.
What?
Yeah.
Fine, right? I don't look like that, especially because the camera is affected by how other people see you. So when other people are taking your photo and the reverse images and all the different things that go
Yeah.
into that.
Sure.
But so there's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. He was a plastic surgeon in the 1960s, and he discovered that the self-image was a servo mechanism or a thermostat. And we can update that set point via creative imaging, aka visualization. And that is our inner mirror. It's the mirror of
Okay.
how, yeah, I know.
That
But
kind of
let me go
irks
to
my
the third
brain a little
mirror.
bit. That's really interesting because, yeah, so like your set point in your head of what you believe you look like, right?
And it's also in the body because the subconscious is the body. It's like how you've it. So dysmorphia is happening here. Okay. So the woman she looks in the mirror and or even when her eyes are closed, she sees herself as hideously fat and everybody else sees that she's literally dying. I have reverse dysmorphia. I always think I look like $1 million. And
I think I might have reverse
sometimes
dysmorphia as well. We're both.
I s sometimes I don't, but then I'm okay with it, and I'm like, "Oh," I just have, like, an extremely high self-image,
Yeah,
so
well, the joke
I
around our house is that I will be in the other room and I'll be like, "Oh my god!" And my daughter's like, "What? What? What?" And I'm like, "It happened again." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "I got better looking." Oh my goodness, I've been doing that since they're little kids. They used to enjoy it. Now they just
so
roll their eyes and
but I also had that thing going where I always said I get better looking with every year, and so the programming of the words, we can go on a whole rabbit hole on that, but I want to prove to everybody about the inner mirror. I wanna make a little proof point. Everyone I know has had the experience of looking back at pictures of themselves when they were in high school and going, "Oh my god, I wasn't fat.
yeah,
I wasn't ugly."
yeah,
So if we can look in the mirror when we're in high school, and maybe your girls can relate to this too, and think there's something wrong with us or that we're not quite good enough, that proves that we don't know how to look at ourselves.
yeah. It's true.
So my whole point is to take conscious control of the quantum mirror and to be reprogramming the first mirror and the third mirror via that internal observation point. The third mirror is the mirror that the beauty industry has got us caught in, and it is the mirror of how other people see us. If you've ever written an email or filmed a video and then rewatched it or reread it, you're getting into the third mirror. Anytime you're putting something out on the internet, anytime you're being seen, anytime you're going out to a party and you're dressed up, you're dressing up for other people's eyes. Anytime you're saying as a woman, "Oh, I turned 50 and now I'm invisible,"
Mm,
it's really
mm.
because they became invisible to themselves. It's it's the fact that they've abdicated all of the power to that third mirror.
I think you need to do a TED Talk and you need to write a book. And I think so. Then that's a mind bender about the quantum mirror, about your own self mirror in your brain, coupled with these two, because it's almost intrusive that the beauty industry gave us another mirror, and even for men, right? Like there's all other lenses that we look at ourselves through that,
Yeah, no, but this is for men
and it's
too.
all
This is for
definitely like a
men.
cultural thing. But I know that we touched on something in the pre-interview, and I really want to go there because this is something that, as a 50-year-old man, my observance of this for me has been the most, I guess it's disturbing. I was going to say like confusing, but probably the most disturbing thing that I've seen within the, I guess, beauty industry, inclusive of plastic surgery, are women who are in their maybe 20s even, that have this excessive plastic surgery happening that I don't think that they realize, but to my generation, they're making themselves look like 55-year-old women trying to look 30 by putting that sort of plastic mask on their faces. Like, I don't even know if I have
Yeah,
a
I just
question
kept
about it, but
no,
like,
you
what is
I
your
know
opinion on that? Like, talk to me about that.
it's about the mirrors because they they they're trying to control the third mirror, and they don't know how to look at themselves in a physical mirror or they would be able to see it, and the inner mirror is completely absent, so they're trying to chase a beauty standard. When I quit doing Botox, and on my blog there is an article called Why I Quit Doing Botox, and I don't get into the toxic conversation. It is a neurotoxin and has a lot of side effects. I quit because I realized it was making me look older.
Yeah.
Because subconsciously, and if people see me and they think I look younger than I look, I'm not attached to that. I don't think that's a compliment. I don't care. But if I have any ability to appear younger than I am, it's because I have not edited my face and distorted my face. So we see with that phenomenon, which is rampant, that the emperor has no clothes. So that fairy tale is all about, everybody upholding an illusion that he was wearing this outfit of finery because the tailors told him that only the very wealthy and only the finest people can see these clothes. And he was embarrassed to say that he couldn't see them. So they sold him basically nothing. And he walked around naked, and everybody was just expected to go along with the illusion because he was the king. I just think that's a perfect parable of what's happening right now. This is an illusion. These women, what they don't understand is that you look, especially men, I think this is really a good example because supposedly we're doing this for men, and we could talk about the patriarchy if you want to get into it. But what they don't understand is that it just tells other people, especially men, I hate myself.
Yes. I was just going to say that. I'm like, that's what I see is like self-loathing.
That's what you see. You see self-hatred. So that's why I'm running around here like, hey, everybody, we got to talk about this. If you want to break free, I have age freedom. So I'm 56. When I'm 60, I'll probably have some more silvers in here. Maybe the face will have changed some more. I don't know and I don't care, but I am not on the hook to say 60 means something to me. I'm not on the hook to mean 50s means something to me. I have complete and total age freedom, and it's just worth so much.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
it's everything.
wonderful.
It's my mother's in her 70s. She looks better now than she looked when she was in her 40s. I
Ah,
think 'cause it was just,
so many 70-year-old hotties out there. I
yeah,
mean,
it's like her
wow, I
approach to
agree.
life, and it's like how, fitness and food. You talked about nutrition as well. It's so important. I am I'm hung up on young women sort of mutilating their faces from my perspective, and not having, I think also not having wrinkles even when you're in your 30s and 40s. Like, I think that that's a bizarre thing to look at where it's like completely smooth. Do you think that women who are more attractive have a more difficult time with the aging process as they age and the beauty industry? Like, do you think that their relationship
Yeah.
is different with all of this?
Well, that's what happened when I was chasing beauty in my late 30s and is because growing up in benign neglect and without, the one thing I had going for me is that I was beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like that was a survival technique for me. That allowed me to I've got the tall, dark, handsome man who makes great money that built me a beautiful home. Like, would I have that if I wasn't like the type of girl when I was in my 30s that everybody would turn to look at with
Yeah.
long, beautiful blonde hair? And that was my survival technique. So when that started changing, I would have done anything
Yeah.
to keep that. Okay. And so what had to happen then is I realized, oh, I can actually do it naturally. I can still maintain the third mirror. I didn't know that's what it was. And what's happened interestingly, I went viral on TikTok for a video where I was like admiring myself and saying like this is what I really look like at in my 50s, and people went absolutely nuts. It got almost 1 billion views.
Wow.
Horrible mean comments because that's a pendulum where people love to like say, "Oh, no, you don't look like that. You don't look good."
Yeah.
Whatever. But what's happened to me now that I'm 56, I don't care about that anymore. I know that I'm secure. I have a great marriage. I don't need to impress people anymore. I like to get on a video and look pretty.
Yeah.
But yet, I think for back to your question, women that have used beauty as a currency,
Mm.
yes,
Mm. So
yes.
that's the wrinkle. Yeah.
That's the wrinkle. That is the wrinkle. And ironically, the wrinkles have nothing to do with being beautiful.
Yeah.
You could have the wrinkles and have the energy coming out of your face.
Yeah.
And I would add any like with teenagers or any women that are really suffering with this, all we have to just kind of do is just gently say, is it the wrinkle or is it what the wrinkle
Yeah.
represents?
Yeah. 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 So interesting. So fascinating. What a fascinating topic. So what's next for you?
I'm going to write a book. I think I'll write a book about my life just because there's so many interesting twists and turns. I do have a movie treatment in mind for the situation my husband went through that I'm about to option out. It's tentatively called The Green Line, and
Good title.
it will be all about the days before cannabis was legalized and this group of people, because it was a conspiracy, which is a group, and just all the characters and the crazy days of that. And I'm just really I'm not going to let up on the beauty industry. I'm going to keep coming forth, and I'm just hoping to just meeting you and also listening to your the episode that came across my desk with Howard Eisenberg,
Pretty incredible stuff, right?
which really just was said so many of the things that I teach. I felt like I was in the room with you guys, and I was like, wow, I want to keep having conversations like this.
Yeah.
I have it on my heart to do a teenage workshop, which will be something for free that will just be for humanity, called Teen Clean and Esteem, where I teach about how the self-image is a thermostat and how to do the daily and nightly rituals. And actually we'll have a mother-daughter component, because the mother's beliefs about herself and her mother's, bringing the epigenetics into it, and doing a teen master class is on my heart. So look for that in the next year or so, but I'll probably just be up to my same old hijinks, just talking about this.
Think you're such a breath of fresh air, especially somebody that's in the beauty industry. And I think the message is beautiful. You're beautiful. Everything that you're doing is beautiful. Keep doing all the stuff that you're
Thank
doing.
you.
And when you get the teenage stuff going, let me know so I can get my girls to learn from you. I really appreciate this. I think it's
Thank
not a
you.
topic that I was looking for, and I think this was the topic that we were supposed to be discussing today. It's like the energy was like, okay, you need to discuss this also. So thank you for sharing with a knucklehead guy from, a 50-year-old dude that knows nothing about the beauty industry, to discuss how spirit and mind and body and soul can impact somebody's beauty. This was very cool.
Thank you.
The Skin Tessa.
Thanks so much.
What's the what's your website, so people that are listening now? I'll put it in the description of the YouTube, but if anybody's listening.
Yeah, I'm theskintessa.com, and I am on all the socials at the.skintessa.
So cool. Amy, thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. It was just a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for the audience. And I would love to give a gift of my Magic Mirror Room visualization,
Yeah.
and you can link that in the show notes, and everybody can have a little experience of the quantum mirror.
You're the best. You're doing some good work out there.
Thank you.
That's so
Thank
cool.
you.